Hey guys, welcome to our video on installing Python and Jupyter basics. Right, so basically what we're going to do with this video here is we're going to take you through three main things. We're going to first of all introduce you to Anaconda, what exactly Anaconda is and why it matters to you and what we need to install on your computer essentially. It's kind of a spoiler alert there. And number two is how to install this on Windows, right? So this specific video is installing it on Windows. There's another video on installing it for your Mac. And then we're going to talk about Jupyter or Jupyter notebooks and the basics of it and how exactly to use it, which we're going to need throughout all the lectures that we're going through in this class. All right, so first of all, Anaconda. So what is Anaconda? Basically, it's a program that allows you to work with all sorts of things for data science, right? So Python, of course, is used a lot in data science, so that's why it's included in this package. But more so than just Python, there's also a lot of other very useful programs that come with this Anaconda. It installs R, if you're familiar with that, with what that is. It installs a bunch of stuff for machine learning, and it installs a bunch of really useful software. So it's definitely a good thing to have on your computer in general if you're going to be doing a lot of data science or you're going to be working with Python a lot. Second thing, let's make sure that you're getting Python version 3. So it's going to be 3.x, right? So in our case, when we're looking at the website, we'll see 3.7. But if you see 3.8 or 3.9 or whatever it is at the time, as long as you get version 3 and not version 2, that's the one that we're going to be working with. There's quite a few differences between version 3 and version 2. If you download version 2, you might have some issues with some of the code that we're using. And then last but not least, if this is too big, I believe the Anaconda for Windows is around 600 megabytes. It's a fairly large file. It would be understandable if this is maybe a bit too big for your computer. Feel free to use Anaconda, and I've included a link here. We're not going to go through how to install it. I highly recommend you install the full version if you can. There's definitely a lot of useful things in there, but if you need to get something a little bit smaller, then Anaconda is available, and the installation is very, very similar anyways. Okay, so let's check out the website here. So anaconda.com is where you're going to go to. All right, so when we get to the website, we see that there's a bunch of different things that we can do here. It describes to you what Anaconda is used for. Feel free to read through this. It could be fairly useful, but essentially it's used for data science. Right. So when you get there, you're going to click on download, and then we're going to go scroll all the way to the bottom, and we're going to make sure that we picked Windows. Right. So it should be automatically. It should detect what system you're on, but just in case, make sure you're on Windows. And then again, make sure it's the Python 3 version. So this is 3.7. Do not get the 2.7. Let's get the 3. Okay. So you're going to download that. Okay. And it's going to go onto your computer. I've already downloaded it. So feel free to pause right now and pause this video and download the executable file. You're going to get a little exe file. But once you've unpaused and once you've downloaded everything, then essentially what you get is this little file here. You can double click it. And we'll open this up. I've also already installed it on this computer, but just so you get a sense of what you'll see, it's this little box here, and essentially it's going to hit next, next, next. You're going to hit agree. And then before you get too far, there's one point that I want to tell you about. It's going to take up 2 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes of your computer, so it's fairly large. Hit next, okay. So as you can see, it says this is already installed on my computer that I have here. But one very important note, and don't pause the video just yet because there's one very important thing. When you're going through this, make sure when you get to this part here, it's going to ask you about path variable, right? So I would say in 99% of your situations, you're going to want to make sure that you check this off. It's not on by default, and when you turn it on, sometimes it even gives you an error message. Don't be fooled by that. Make sure this is checked off. The reason being is that this will replace your Python for your entire computer, which will just make your life a lot easier going forward. It's going to be a huge pain if you don't do this. There are workarounds, but it will take you, I remember when I set this up incorrectly on a Windows computer once, it took me a good 20-30 minutes to correct that problem. So definitely make sure you check this off. Even if there's an error, continue on with it. Unless, of course, you have installed Python in the past on your computer and for some reason you want to keep it. I'm assuming you're a bit more of an expert, you know what you're doing, and probably also this course isn't right for you, but or at least this lecture is not right for you if that's the case. But in 99% of your situations, make sure you check it off even if there's an error. Okay. All right, and then once we have it installed, okay, what we want to do is we want to open up Anaconda. So let's open this up. It's called the Anaconda Navigator. Right, so we'll search it here, Anaconda Navigator. Depending on what version of Windows, you might have it in a different spot, but for me, I just like using a search button. Makes my life a lot easier. Okay, so it's going to do a couple things here. Let's wait while it loads. And you're eventually going to see a screen where you have a lot of different things that you can open up. So let's see if this is loaded for me. Just close that. All right, takes a little bit of time to load. This is almost done. Okay, there we go. So we got Anaconda Navigator opened up. Okay, there's a little prompt there that I got rid of. And as you can see, it comes with quite a few different programs. These are all very useful. They're quite useful programs to go through, and feel free to explore them on your own time. Really, we're just interested in Jupyter Notebooks. One other one that you might be very interested in is VS Code. This is where we can write code on your computer to execute in a different kind of way. But really, we're going to be using Jupyter Notebooks throughout this entire class for the most part. So Jupyter is really where we want to get going from. Okay, so what we're going to do is hit launch. And that's going to take a little while and essentially open up something called command prompt and open up Jupyter within your web browser. Okay, we're doing everything through the web browser here. All right, so now that we have that open, okay, you see that it opened it up in a certain folder on your computer. Chances are this is probably not where you want to have all your projects being saved, right? So if I were you, I would navigate into a different folder or create a new folder, right? I believe you can create a folder here as well. Yeah, you can create a folder, right? And this will be mirrored on your actual laptop. So maybe I'll go into this and navigate through with this program right here. However, once we get into a specific folder, okay, so this is empty here, and essentially we're going to be able to do several different things, okay? So first of all, if we want to start a new project, what we're going to do is we're going to hit new, and we're going to pick Python 3 underneath notebook, okay? That's going to create a brand new notebook for us, and we'll be able to use that to edit and do whatever we want to do with it, right? Okay, or if you want to use a notebook that was downloaded from the internet, you're basically going to hit upload, okay? And then you're going to select the file from your computer, hit open. I don't have any notebook files on this computer, so I'm not going to show you that directly, but basically you click on the file, you hit open, and then there'll be another little button here they click on. You press that as well. I believe it says upload, and then it'll look just like this. There'll be a little file that you can click on, right? Okay, so let's open up this brand new notebook that I created, untitled. Okay. And essentially, let's walk you through kind of the basics of how to use Jupyter. All right, so there's a few main things that you need to know. So first of all, everything in Jupyter is based on cells. Okay, so this is one cell here that I could type into, right? And let's say I want to type in some code. So let's type in print hello world. We'll explain to you exactly what this is in the next lecture. But it's a little bit of code here. Hit run. Okay, and we see that we have an output. Okay, so essentially we put input into one of the cells, hello world, and the output came out, it actually said hello world. Okay, As soon as we ran that, it also created another cell. Okay. If you want to, you can add more as well for whatever reason if you need them. You could also delete cells. You could select a few at a time or one at a time, whatever you prefer. And you hit delete. Okay, so you can delete, you can create. Okay. Now, if you ever have any issues with your code, if you get into something like a loop, something's just not stopping, there's some error in your code, it's just not working properly, and Jupyter stuck, then what you can do is you can hit stop here, and they'll interrupt the kernel being Jupyter's kind of like the main engine behind it. You can hit stop and it'll stop itself and you'll be able to keep going. If that doesn't work, and sometimes you get into some really big issues, there's something really weird going on, I don't do this too often, but you could also do something like restart the kernel. Okay, you can restart and clear output as well, depending on what you want to do. But you hit restart, and then restart button again. The only thing that you need to worry about when you hit restart on the kernel, what it's going to do is it's going to erase everything in your notebook, as in not erase the code, but erase anything that's being stored in memory. So if you set any kind of variables or anything like that, those all be erased, and you have to rerun each of your cells. Okay, so it's definitely a bit more of a pain. Try not to use that if you don't have to, but if you do, it's there available for you, and you know that you can do it. All right. So I believe that concludes everything for getting Python installed, using Jupyter Notebooks and kind of the basics behind Jupyter Notebooks. If you have any questions about this, hopefully everything got installed properly on your computer and you're not having too many issues. But if you are, feel free to message me. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I'm constantly working on improving these lectures, and I'm constantly trying to help out you guys, the students, to learn this and learn this in a good way and not get stuck in any places. So feel free to message me. Okay. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. This is brought to you by LumiWealth.com, where we teach you about finance, programming, and just in general how to make money. So if you'd like to get 25% off our entire website, which has a ton of courses, a ton of like cool courses that you can learn about programming and finance, then what you're going to do is you're going to use either the link in the description, or you can use our promo code, which is LUMI25. That's LUMI25, just like Luminate or like Lumi Wealth, the name of our company. When you get there, there's going to be tons of great courses that you can choose from about programming, about finance, and a lot of these courses are even free, so don't feel like you need to spend money. You have the 25% off if you need it, but feel free to get some of the free stuff as well. So check it out, LumiWealth.com. Thanks for listening.